Hello, and welcome to Levels Plus Whenever episode 152. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct today. I'm still sick. I'm less sick, but my voice is a little strained, so this will probably be recorded in little bits and pieces along the day when I want to talk about specific things. I have a pickup. I'll throw a picture of it in because I don't want to be on camera. But let's go ahead and start with the Galaxy Duo, because I think it's great that Galaxy 2 is on Switch, finally. I think that it's great that Galaxy can be purchased again on Switch. I think that they're overpriced. I think that they're $40 each. I think $30 might be a more fair price to ask. Maybe even $25, but that's just not how Nintendo rolls. They are adding Rosalina pages to Galaxy 2. Almost flipping Miyamoto's no story era on the finger, which, hey, they probably should. And they're releasing a book and some amiibo for it that we don't fully know what the amiibo do, but the Rosalina one I like a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and get that amiibo, and I've already pre-ordered this despite my grumbles. Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are really good games, and as best as I can tell, they're going to use Joy-Cons to replicate the Wiimote. I hope that there might be some way to play the game a little less reliant on waggle. I don't remember. We'll find out. Galaxy 2 in particular, with Yoshi's stuff, there was so much that relied on having that cursor. That is probably not going to happen that way, but I could be hopeful. I am not the biggest fan of waggle controls, as I've said. Let's see how this works. We've got Mario Tennis Aces. No, that's the Switch 1 version. This is the Switch 2 Mario Tennis Fever. And we've got 38 characters at launch, including Pauline and Daisy. So whatever DLC plans they may have, there's going to be more obscure stuff. This looks like this is the game that Aces should have been. It looks really nice. I imagine Camelot is developing this. Seemingly, Nintendo decided to stop feeding them scraps and actually get them upgraded graphic tech, so they could actually make games look as good as a lot of the other Mario games that are out there. I wouldn't say this is Mario Kart world level quality, but it is a huge step up from Mario Golf Super Rush. And characters look like Mario Kart World's new aesthetic enough that I'm happy with it. This looks like it's dialing back some of the things about Aces that basically prevented me from wanting to play it. Offensive techniques seem to be dialed back, and they seem to be focusing more on defense with this one, which I'm okay with. But they've got these cool stages with... I love the fact that this is Waluigi Pinball and all these little bumpers pop up and you just see Birdo just start bouncing around over there. It's really hilarious. And then they've got Wonder Flower effects, which I think is another fantastic addition that should make this a lot more engaging. We even have a Mario Wonder stage here. So all of a sudden the hippos are showing up and it's just kind of clever. But these are rackets, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a Pokey racket, and one of these is a Thwomp racket. Looks like Bowser has it. Mario's got some sort of cloud on his, and then Daisy's got some sort of electric racket. So I think the aesthetics look really nice. You can play ranked, you can play just simple, more general online, you can use use your Wiimotes if you want to play that way. It just looks like it's got everything that I would want out of a tennis game that I haven't really felt compelled to play since the GameCube Power Smash or whatever in the world they called it. Plus, Baby Waluigi is now a thing that we have to deal with. That is now a thing. Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Let's just stop here. There's more coming than just this. They really emphasized the multiplayer modes, which look fun. They look like a really great way to spend some time in the game with friends. And considering how well this game controls, I think that's a great idea. Fanto's back, and that makes me so excited. I'm not as big on him being gold than red and white like he was before. I say he. I don't know what gender Fanto is. But this just looks like a lot of fun, and there's just a lot of different modes. But the part that got me more excited, honestly, was the little tiny bit at the end where the Koopalings show up. We're almost there. Koopalings are joining the game, and as I think I mentioned in the reaction, Wonder's biggest fault was bosses, because it was just a lot of Bowser Jr. putting on different disguises or concepts, and a couple other kind of generic things that I don't really remember at this point. Some people might be tired of the Koopalings. I am not one of those people. So I am excited to see them enter the Mario Wonderscape and be a part of a DLC campaign. Captain Toad's also here. I think he was in the original. I don't remember. But it looks like they're using their wands to have wonder effects happen. And there's a whole slew of new levels, it looks like, related to all this. Or maybe there's challenges that have been added to all the levels with the Koopalings that we now have to deal with their shenanigans. Whatever the case may be, I am excited about more Wonder content because I think it's a really good game. And last but not least in the Mario territory is the new Yoshi game, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. This game looks wonderful and sweet and adorable, and it looks like a very different type of game. So the way that this is presented is that as Yoshi, you enter a page that talks about a creature, and you kind of interact with that creature in a bunch of different ways to see what it does. And you fulfill notes as you kind of figure all that out. And I don't know how big the levels are. I don't know if it's genuinely that's all there is to it, or if there's actual platforming challenges or anything like that. But I think there is some really cool ideas in this that I would like to see how that's going to shape out. So I wanted to learn more about how exactly the gameplay works, but I'm potentially in, and I don't care for Yoshi platforming, so that says a lot that I'm potentially in. Now we're going to skip a whole bunch of stuff. I don't have a whole lot to say about Tomodachi Life, other than I appreciate its silliness. But I don't think that's a game I'm going to buy. I feel bad for Linked. I feel so bad for Linked. Banner of the Spark. Thankfully, it was a shadow drop, so people could actually play it right now. I sometimes wonder if Nintendo has a just really mean sense of humor. Because to put a roguelite that doesn't look as good as what's about to follow, and then, hey, check out this game, it's cool. I've not heard of it before, it just came out, it's from smaller teams. and then to just literally switch gears to like the most coveted game in the genre getting its release date with, let's just watch this trailer. The most beautiful animation. Supergiant put so much budget into this particular trailer. It is obscene. I don't know if I have seen a more well done animated trailer than the Hades 2 trailer for the Switch 2 announcement. It is easily one of the most beautiful and gorgeous pieces of animation I've ever seen. And as someone who loves Studio Ghibli films to death, I give that as like high praise. Whoever they hired to do this killed it. Absolutely killed it. I pre-ordered this thing. I am so excited because this trailer did exactly what it was designed to do. It made me want to play Hades 2. As for the game itself, it looks great. And like I've said in the direct, there's very few roguelites that I will give the time of day to. Hades is one, and I'm excited about the sequel. And I want to know more about this character. She's really cool. So yeah, I'm excited. I am very excited. I'm not going to talk about Kirby because I kind of already did in that specific direct. It already won me over. We're getting another Kirby Air Riders direct. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment finally is looking impressive. Like, the frame rate is solid, and that was my big concern back in June, was that the frame rate doesn't look great. Some of the grass textures don't look great. It really feels like in the last few months since that trailer, they've really been working hard on improving the visual quality, and it shows. I also think it's great that we're getting a Zelda-focused game so soon after Echoes of Wisdom, because this is Zelda's thing. We have this mysterious construct that shows up towards the end of this trailer. This Gleelock shot is amazing. This thing. This seems to be our Link analog, a robotic character of some kind. It's in the teaser art, which I'll put in the edit so you can at least see the concept art of the character. But this game looks good. And like the Zonai stuff looks like a fun addition. Having sync attacks is a nice addition, and it's going to build rapport. But this is also an opportunity to meet all of these characters that we only really got to see on the sidelines and the trailers. So I'm excited. I think this looks like a good time. Even in split screen, this doesn't look rough, you know? It looks like it runs pretty well. So fingers crossed that this turns out well. I'm excited about it. Okay. In terms of games I was not anticipating seeing whenever YouTube decides to load it, another remake of Dragon Quest VII was not one I had planned. I didn't expect anything from 1 and 2, honestly. Not even 12. But we're getting a ground-up reimagining of Dragon Quest VII that I really like the art style for. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a really nice evolution. Toriyama's style is still being used here, but it is downplayed some by the diorama design of the game. And it's got a little bit more of a realistic edge to it compared to like 11. But it's still Toriyama. And I like this look. I think it's a good look for this game. I'm here for it. I've already pre-ordered it. I'm already excited for what 7 could bring. Even though I had the 3DS one, I never played it. I never got into it. Just wasn't in the mood for that particular game, I suppose. They're streamlining some stuff, which could be a yay or a nay. Kind of depends. But at the moment, I'm pretty excited to see where they're going to take 7, and if this is the way that they're going to consider doing 3D Dragon Quest moving forward, I'm all for it. This silly thing. You know, there are moments in Nintendo's history where they have released something that is so on brand for them and absolutely inexplicable for just about everything else that exists in the world. And this is one of those situations. The Virtual Boy Nintendo Classics app is coming in February of next year. It requires you to buy a $100 chunk of plastic to slide your Switch or Switch 2 into, or a $25 piece of cardboard to slot around your Switch or Switch 2, so you can strap your face into it and look at the screen super up close to get the stereoscopic 3D. My eyes hurt just saying that sentence. Fans have made these games playable properly on regular screens with emulation tricks. I don't know why Nintendo couldn't do the same. You could do 2 paths here. The path that Nintendo chose, which is we're going to keep things rigid, and we're going to force people to have to look at these with this 2-screen setup that we built in the original hardware and replicate that to a fault. So you have to actually look at it up close and put your face into a lens to make it merge together. Or they could have added an option to play it on a normal Switch 2 screen on a TV or whatever, so you could actually enjoy the games without having to have a gigantic device strapped to your face. It is wild to me that Nintendo is the way that they are sometimes. People will buy this, ironically and for reals, because they want to have that Virtual Boy experience. And you're getting like a good quarter of the library has been announced for it. Japan's getting another game, a fishing game. But something that is actually kind of exciting to me, there's a game on this list from a company that has not done anything on any of the apps for Nintendo Classics through the entire Switch 1 lineup all the way to now. And their first game is here, and no, it is not Athena. No, it is not IMAX. Technically, both of those are accurate, but Taito is the one that I'm talking about here. Taito is owned by Square Enix as a subsidiary, and Square Enix has not published a single Nintendo Classics game in the entire run of the original Switch to this day. February 2026, maybe. Since these are going to be released over time, who knows when Space Invaders Virtual Collection is going to show up. We have a Square Enix game announced for the Nintendo Classics line through Taito. So what does that mean? Does that mean that Square Enix / Taito are going to release more games? Or did Nintendo just manage to have a nice sweet pot of Virtual Boy cash that they threw around at Taito to say, hey, we really could use that Space Invaders game on our collection, because otherwise we're going to not have a whole lot to go off of here. It's very interesting, and I'm probably going to be one of the only people that's going to point that out. I do hope that it means that Square Enix is opening up to having more than just Space Invaders. I would love a lot more Taito games on Nintendo Classics. I would love a lot of Square Enix games on Nintendo Classics. Both of them are huge third-party support that this system would just thrive with. And I'm not just saying this because I want Chrono Trigger on here so bad. I do. I think that there's so much more that they could do for a lot of their obscurities, like Ogre Battle, for example. Just to re-release those on Nintendo Switch in these apps, just knock them out, we'd have a wonderful time. We really would. Alright, enough of those shenanigans. I think Fatal Frame 2 Remake looks pretty good, but I'm just not interested in that franchise. Let's talk about Mach Rider. I mean, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Samus has a bike. It's related to her suit. It's the same name. So she needs to have this suit to drive the bike. But there are just these wonderful open world segments, it seems, that you can just drive around, fight enemies, find places to go. Very novel, very different. I think that's a really sick idea. It looks like it controls really well, looks super fun. And then you just hop off the bike and you're back into first person mode. And we finally got a release date for December. We're getting 3 freaking amiibo. What the hell? We also have the art book, which I also have on order. But we're getting 2 amiibo in November. Which makes me go, why are we separating the amiibo launch dates like this? Why is Samus and the Viola coming out November 6th? Like, what does that mean? We don't know what they do. And then Psylux is coming out the day of the game. It's really fascinating because, like, these two are 30. This one's 40. I actually expected this one to be 50. So I happily will take 40. Yes, I ordered them all. I have all the Metroid amiibo now, so I can't resist. Nintendo knows they've got me too wired around their finger. Anyway, I'm very excited to have a release date that it's coming out this year. It's going to make things really tight to do my Game of the Year stuff. But hey, I'll just make time for it. The new Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC. I have it. I've already goofed around with it. DK Island is great. It's a nice little throwback to DK64 fans, as well as just fans of the series in general, because like these trees look so much like the Super Nintendo ones. It's fantastic. There's some really cute Easter eggs in here that I won't spoil. I'll let you explore. I'll just say the backside of the island has something that's really cute for DK fans. The Emerald Rush mode is probably one of the most inoffensive roguelite modes I've ever played. And I actually might do more than the one that I did just to start stuff, because boy, the unlock rate to get all the goodies is slow. I don't know if it's $20 for most people, but I love this game, and just to have more opportunities to run around and break stuff, I was for it. So this Ditto game that looks like Animal Crossing, Minecraft, and Pokemon rolled all together, I gotta admit, this absolutely unhinged gameplay idea, once it really started going, and it's like, oh, like this just looks like it could be so much fun. It could be like the Animal Crossing game I've always wanted. Just get to be a silly looking little Ditto dressed up like a human, but has all the Ditto powers of duplicating things that the other Pokemon have, and you just unlock more Pokemon as the deeper you get doing stuff. I think that could be a really fun gameplay loop, and by the time we get to like towards the end of this thing, it's like there's a Poke Center, There's a bike. You can do interiors. You can play multiplayer. Yeah, they shove so much into like 10 seconds that even the rewind feature is having a hard time keeping up with it. Yeah, here we go. So like you can create interiors. So it's like, this is exactly what I would want out of a Pokemon game, honestly. So I might actually buy a Pokemon game for the first time in my entire life. Because this one looks like it could have the stuff that I need to actually enjoy it. Meowth I have not seen. I'm sure he's around. Or she. I always think of Meowth in the anime context. So I will be looking forward to running around with a Meowth in the near future. Potentially. Alright, I don't care about ZX though. New Danganronpa, sure, I'm sure fans of that are excited. We did get to see new Resident Evil 9 footage, which I will say this, it's clearly not as good as the PlayStation 5 PC footage that we've been seeing for other trailers. But for the Switch 2, this looks really good. Like, this looks incredibly good. It's a very impressive looking game, because this is Capcom working the RE engine for several years at this point, showing off how much better they're getting with their engine. And the fact that it is running on Switch 2 at this state, looking this good as it does on this system that is not as good as a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or a modern PC, is incredibly impressive. That they are able to scale it to this degree and still have it run really well. I will not be getting this for the Switch 2. I will be getting the PS5 version. But I think that this is a fantastic showcase of how strong the Switch 2 can be in capable hands. Alright, let's get to the thing that I was most excited about this whole Direct. New Fire Emblem, folks. I recorded about a half an hour of commentary on the entire segment. I'm not going to actually air that. I feel like you can get that information on Soren's Forest, which I'm just going to leave in the description. What I will say is I am so excited about these 4 new characters they've shown off. They seem to be important leads. I'm trying to find Kai in this mess. Kai is this character here. Very excited to see more about him. He's a new class of character. He's got a crest. I spotted a shiny. This game looks so good. It's like everything that they learned with Engage in terms of pushing the graphics and animation is in this game. I'm hoping that all of that tactical pieces that came together for Engage so well also gets connected to all the stuff in Three Houses that I really liked. That was Theodora, by the way. This is Diedrich. He seems to be a bit of an edgelord type of character. He's got a hero's relic and a crest. And then this is Lita. She can summon monsters like Happy can, just without size. She does it through playing music. This game looks phenomenally good. Like, this is absolutely a worthy end your Direct presentation with caliber of trailer. If it wasn't for the Hades 2 trailer having absolutely stunning animation, it would be my favorite trailer of this entire thing. But this is the game that I've been wanting. This is what I have been patiently waiting for. is more Fire Emblem. Did not expect it to be 3 houses tied, as Sothis suddenly shows up. Hi, Sothis. Which just makes me even happier. Makes me wonder where this is set. Makes me wonder when it is set. Is it later because Sothis is older? Is it earlier because Sothis is older? Is this real Sothis, not brain gremlin Sothis? Anyway, I could go on and on. Before we end this episode, there's one last thing I want to touch on, which is just a quick comparison of the Switch 1 and Switch 2 first years. Okay, we're just real fast. Don't want to be on this too long. I just want to quickly point out some interesting comparisons between what we know of for the first year of the Switch 2. Note, Fire Emblem through Splatoon, we don't have anything beyond 2026 as a release window. So these games may not make it into that first half of 2026. At the moment, we know that Mario Bros. Wonder, Switch 2 Edition, and Yoshi and the Mysterious Book are spring 2026. Tomodachi Life is considered a Switch 1 game, so I'm not including it here. I also didn't include the Zelda Switch 2 editions that we currently have because they didn't really add anything significant compared to Kirby getting a whole new game mode, Jamboree getting a whole new game mode, and with Wonder getting a brand new game mode and a whole bunch of new single player content that we haven't really seen a lot of yet. I did include Legend ZA and Metroid Prime 4 because they are getting Switch 1 and Switch 2 editions. Tomodachi Life said nothing about a Switch 2 edition, so I don't want to include it here. That all being said, it is interesting going back to the launch year for the Switch 1, because in hindsight, it did seem so impressive, but when we actually flip back to the Switch 2 is actually might have a beat in some ways. Both had Zelda Breath of the Wild as the launch title, but both also prioritized Mario Kart. We had Switch 2 Tour take over 1-2 Switch's role as the casual introduction type of game. We don't really have anything to replace Flipboards or Snipper Clips in here, because I think that Dragon Drive is more of the ARMS replacement. We don't really have a Splatoon 2 alternative, because Raiders is looking like it's more of a single-player co-op type of thing. But Splatoon 3 exists and got a unofficial Switch 2 bump. We don't have a fighting game at all. ARMS and Pokken were right out the gate with fighting games, and Nintendo is not worrying about that right now. We do have a Warriors title with Age of Imprisonment, switching franchises, but we also do have Fire Emblem getting a game potentially in the first year. I would be shocked if it came out before June, though. We have a 3D platformer. We just swapped Mario and DK. Xenoblade is sitting out, and Kirby, we know, has 2 games technically in that first year, with Forgotten Lands Enhancement and then Air Riders coming out in a couple months. But we have Metroid seemingly stepping in to cover the Xenoblade gap. I know that's not a really good comparison because the two are very different aesthetically and by genre. But that does seem to be the more, I'm going to just say, the niche franchise for Nintendo to include in this launch year. And we know that Mario Tennis Fever is hitting in February, so it's ahead of Mario Tennis Aces, which couldn't quite do the same for the Switch 1 that came out a little bit later. And then we'll have Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Switch 2 Edition, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which Crafted World didn't come out to 2019, if I remember right. And then these 5 games could sneak into a couple of those slots that Mario Wonder and Yoshi do not. But I feel like even if we were to eliminate some of these and just look at Yoshi, that's a pretty good start, honestly. There's not a role-playing game outside of Pokemon. So if you're not into Pokemon, you're kind of out if you're on that genre. There's no fighting games, as I said, so if you're into those, you're kind of out of luck too. But otherwise, I think that they've done a pretty good job of catering to a pretty broad audience. We'll end on Sothis judging us, I guess. She's really good at that. I hope that you have a wonderful set of days till I see you again. We'll probably be taking some time off. I'm still not feeling well. So September might be a little bit quieter on the front of videos. I'm also trying to get a book done, but being sick has not helped that. So my focus for September right now is getting that book done once I feel better, and then we'll come back to doing some video stuff. So, but this direct was pretty good. I'm gonna give it a B+, A-. The thing about it that I think drops it down is third-party stuff was a little lacking. Hades 2, fantastic. Nintendo's even publishing the physical. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, really good. Really excited about that. But like outside of those things, like I'm not gonna get Resident Evil Requiem on the Switch 2. As great as it looks, Monster Hunter Stories 3 looks really good, but I'm not interested. Fatal Frame 2 was pretty good, but I'm not interested. It's just kind of where things sit with the Switch 2 and third parties right now until keycards stop being a thing, and it's not just they're porting stuff over that's already been on PlayStation and Xbox and PC for a while. Such is the case of having multiple consoles, I guess. Okay, I'll see you soon, friends. Take care.